Gun violence is something that probably has affected everyone in the world.
Violence is a horrific epidemic, leaving people dead and families in grief. News cycles move on, but grief lingers.
Gun violence is everywhere and it affects all of us, and it's something that we need to figure out how to control because it's definitely a pandemic that has never stopped.
These are real people with great lives, great families that love them, gone too soon.
That's why I'm definitely advocate for common sense gun laws.
Violence does not belong, hate does not belong, vindication does not belong, only peace and love. Our future must hang on the hinges of love, care, and solidarity with those who suffer.
Please, 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 if you know of anyone buying guns that's in an angry state, please, report it to your local authorities to see if someone can intervene. What's up, everybody? I'm Dr. Willard Maxwell. I'm here with my dude, Dr. Antipas Harris, and we at our Theology on Tap. And today, we're going to talk about gun violence, but my partner, he's so eloquent with speech, so we're going to make sure he sets it up and make sure everybody introduce themselves. Go ahead, Doc.
I'm extraordinarily excited to have this conversation. Not because this is an exciting conversation, but because there's just not enough voice given to this issue. Gun violence has become sort of a norm in some of our communities, and many of the people who are experiencing the aftermath of the violence after the news moves on, it's as if the issue moves on, but they're left with grief and the memory of their loved one. So I'm particularly interested in this conversation, not just to talk about gun violence or violence in general, but particular stories. These individuals meant so much to their families. Their families loved them, and they're left heartbroken.
And in the grief of knowing that the loved one is gone, in many cases, they don't know who did it. And I believe that the community has an opportunity to rally around these families to let them know that we are here with them. Gun violence, all kind of violence, has to stop. And it begins with us. Not watching what's new on the news, but remembering that humanity is suffering. And as they suffer, we suffer. We're grateful today to have some representatives from families, some moms, dad, who are here today to talk about their loved one. We have Miss Mary Jackson.
Yes.
You have turned your tragedy into a movement.
Yes.
And I'm so sorry to hear about what happened to your son. And then we have Rashida and Chavez here. And I'm so sorry about what happened to your son. And it's really new. It's very raw. So we want to have some very frank conversations with you as parents. Can I begin with you, Ms. Jackson?
Sure.
What happened?
On October the 11th, 2018, at 1 o'clock, I called him and he said, "Mom, I'm on my way home. You can bring my daughter back by." And at 1:30, when I got there, he was laying in the street. It was a gang killing. He was shot 13 times. He, a single parent, Rahib Ishmael Brooks, was my knee baby, a single parent. And by the grace of God, I had his daughter with me, or she would have got shot up in the car as well. And so when people talk about grief or losing a loved one and want to know how can you heal, you lost a piece of your heart. And to lose a piece of your heart, it does not heal. You learn to deal with the trauma. You learn to accept the trauma, but you never forget. I have his 2-year-old. She was 2 at the time. And how do you tell a 2-year-old who's sitting on the step crying, I want my daddy. I want my daddy. When daddy come to get me, why daddy hasn't come? And there's no way to explain to her that daddy will never come again. She is now 8 years old, and we have our conversations that we talk with her about him and what we did. Instead of going to the neighborhood, shooting up the neighborhood, we came about and did the Heave Foundation. And what the Heave Foundation is, it's called Healing, Evolving, Building. One community, one family at a time. We try and give the community what we couldn't do for ours, that they don't have to go through the trauma. How do you tell somebody that your loved one is not coming back? How do you display the grief that you're having to help somebody else? That's what we do. We talk to them. We love on them. We talk 24/7. My phone is always open. I'm always hugging, always loving, because I don't ever want to tell another person that their baby won't be back, their loved one won't be back. How do you stop this violence is what we want to know. How do we go about helping the community to take away this tragedy that keeps happening over and over again so easily?
Tell me, what type of person was what do you remember your son to be as a mom?
My son was a jokester. He always had a smile. Now, one thing about him, if he didn't like you, he didn't like you. But if he liked you, you was in his circle. He would do anything. The kids during his funeral told me, Miss Mary, we done slept under your bed a many times because we didn't have anywhere to go and Raheem wouldn't let us stay outside. We would eat your food. My rule in my house is if you came to my house and told me you was hungry, you could sit at my table. If you didn't have a place to sleep, you could sit at our house. And they use that rule that I had to help the community. I did not know a lot of love was being shown. You know, when you teach a child that they supposed to follow these rules, you're not thinking they follow them, but to find that they're implicating them, to find that they're showing that love, to find that they're sharing what they have. And we may not have as much as others had, but we continue to share that love, that responsibility. Rahib did that so graciously. The day he got killed, this no disrespect, this white lady came to me, and I did not know who she was, and she was crying. I said, "Baby, why are you crying? What's wrong?" She said, he bought my baby some Pampers. I said, "Your baby? It's not his baby. I didn't have nobody to give me any money for my baby, and he has been taking care of my baby. He's been making sure the baby had Pampers, making sure the baby had milk." That's the type of person he was. If he saw a need, he would go in and help you. If he saw you hungry, he would give you food. That's the type of person he was. He didn't take no tea for the fever. He was just a straight person. If you needed help, he was there to help you.
It sounds like he had a big heart.
He had a big heart, yes.
Yeah.
It's one question. Let me ask this real quick. Well, let me just say this. You said something in what you said. You said, how do we stop the violence? Well, you were part of the solution because you said we didn't want to go shoot up the neighborhood. I'm a volunteer police chaplain, he is too, and I've been on scenes where I know the family and other people know who shot the person. In fact, I've heard them say it. Don't tell them anything. You better make sure you handle it. I've seen a grandmother tell a grandchild, y'all better handle y'all business, when I was downtown at a scene in Newport News as a volunteer chaplain. And I'm like, look, why are you going to do that? That's just going to bring it back to them. And they just continue to make the cycle go off. So for you to take that energy, because energy is a neutral, it's going to come out as positive energy or negative energy, for you to start the Heat Foundation in memory of him for healing instead of retaliation, that is definitely part of the process that's helping kill that particular cycle of violence. Because for them, I was just shocked, because I wasn't shocked that somebody said it, but I was shocked that it was a grandmother, like you. And most of the time, even if the mother or father not doing right, at least that next generation has matured to the place where they say, no, tell the police so they can handle it. Because if you go shoot somebody, they going to come shoot you. But the cycle continues to go on because of the mentality some people have. So I just thank you for starting that foundation. What put that in your heart to just be able to do that, just release that positive energy?
Because we are Christians. And we believe that God said, vengeance is mine, said the Lord. And if you believe what you say you believe in, God has a scripture for everything. And I believe that he said, vengeance is mine. I may not get the outcome right now, but I know that God will and he can do the vengeance. And so because of this, we have grown to hear a little baby cry about my dad, to see a teenager cry about my dad, to see a man cry. You know, people don't think that when that child is gone, you're not going to miss him. Oh my gosh. I had just talked to him. You talking about 30 minutes later, he was dead. Thank God I didn't come home. I'm telling you, God kept me, because when I was on my way there, he said, no, go do what I told you. He had told me to take her out to a lady. Go do what I told you. That's how God speaks to me.
Wow.
So when I drove a block away, took the lady the suit, turned around and came, my son was dead. If I hadn't went to take the suit, I would have been there. I'd have probably got shot up with him. My grandbaby, she in the car seat, her car seat all shot up.
What possesses, so just a thought, what possesses people's minds to take other people's lives? I'm sure you've met through this process, you've met other moms and grandmoms and family members from others who have experienced a similar situation through your HEAP Foundation and so forth. What is the conversation?
Our conversation is start off by, I'm sorry. Let me hug you. Let me embrace you. Let me let you grieve. Because a lot of people don't want you to grieve. That hurt, they have hurt build in their heart that spill over. They have some people don't have home training. We're training our children not to kill people, but you're training your children to kill. Just like he said, the woman said, go handle your business. It has to do with the different culture. How can we put this? I really think it should be in school. It's to start at school. It's what it says, start at home and spread abroad. I think it should be at school. And if the schools see that there's a problem, it should go another step farther. I think it should be some type of training to train our kids on what not to do. Sometimes it starts at home. Sometimes they do it at home. Moms and dads are busy working and the children are having their own game. They playing their own thing. When we talk to the parents, one of the ladies told me, well, they killed my son and I'm going to make sure they dead.
Wow, exactly what I said. And so this is the thing about people. If you don't love you, you will never love me. And most of the time people kill people, they don't value their own life. The Bible says, love thy neighbor as you love thyself. But if you don't love yourself, how you gonna love me? If you don't know how to love you, if you don't value you, you won't value me. So it's easy for you to throw away a life because you don't feel like your life means anything. But I just want to bring just a little bit of balance. We're gonna come back over there, but I want to kind of bring y'all into the conversation. Brother Chavis and Miss Rashida, our church married her and her husband, and he's one of my members, and her mama be bossing everybody around. She thinks she's a pastor. But anyway, so, and I know when you all, the amazing thing, Doc, I thought I was dealing with two different murder cases when they came to me, because I didn't connect you two. I did not. I knew, I knew, man, what's your husband's name? Why am my dad gonna brain? I knew you and Aaron, and so when he said his son was shot, I said, oh my God. Then Carolyn said that Aaron was gonna call me about yours. I said, man, I got two 20-something-year-olds. I ended up calling Chief Drew, and it was another 20-something-year. This is how much murder happens. It was another 20-something-year-old that was killed by the boyfriend of the mother. And so I was like thinking I was dealing with two different people, but it was one. I said, hold on, Rashida named both times. So that's when I finally made it one person, which made me have less anxiety. But I released it, Reverend Mary. I released my cares. She get my blood pressure down. She's a prophetic. I mean, yes. Anyway, I digress. So when I thought it was more than one individual, but either way it goes, it's so close to home. And what went through your minds? Like, I know you dealing with it now, just like Doc said, this is fresh for you. This happened in June. How are you coping with this? My goodness.
And what
Yeah,
what happened? What happened? If you
Yeah,
don't
what
mind.
happened to the story? You a great question.
That Sunday, June 9th, he rode out. Excuse me. He rode out. With his homeboy, they rode downtown, Newport News. On their way back up, they stopped over in Brookridge. But that whole time from Stewart Gardens, a car was following them, right? So they stopped over in Brookridge. Now, it's been said that the boy that my son was with had beef with these guys downtown, right? So they have beef with these guys downtown. My son rode out with him. He comes back up. He was supposed to be at work that day. He called out. So he come back up, and they followed him all the way from Stewart Gardens all the way up here to Atkinson on the Jefferson side that crosses over to Ward. And when they shot him, they shot up the car. How many times was it?
20.
Shot the car up 20 times, and
Jesus.
he got hit in the shoulder. So instead of them taking him to the hospital, they took him to the trailer courts. And that's where he really was pronounced dead, in the trailer courts. And they called the ambulance there, and the detective said the ambulance tried to get him to the hospital, but
So he pretty much bled out.
bled out. He bled out. Yeah. And it's sad because I went to watch the game, right, at District 41. I go to watch the game, and my friend gets a call. And the person on the other end was like, hey, dude, because my nickname is Pac-Man. So he said, man, you know Pac? And he's like, yeah, I'm with him right now, actually. And they told him, hey, man, his son just was shot and killed. So he has
That's
to tell
how
him.
you found out?
This is how I found out.
Oh.
Right? And
Jesus.
it's sad because that whole day, me and his mom was on the phone with each other. And we were talking about our son. Right? And as we were on the phone that day, it was happening
Lord.
at the same time. But even still, we didn't know until later on. So when I'm watching the game and my friend, he tells me, he said, man, I'm looking at him and he looking at me and I just see him start crying. So I'm like, man, what's up? Like, what's up? And he said, man, I hate to be the one to tell you. And I said, what's up, man? And I said, Zai dead, ain't he? And he said, yo. Yeah, so he was the one that rushed me to Riverside. I called my wife, and she ended up calling Rashida. And they still didn't know until her and her husband, until her and Aaron got to the hospital that Zai was actually dead.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Rashida, what are you feeling right now?
Yes, it's still surreal.
Yeah.
Thank you. I thought that I was gonna go there and he was gonna be okay. Because he was so strong, he was so tough, and he just had a fighting spirit. And last summer, well, actually on his brother's birthday last year, March 27, 2023, he got run over by an F-150
Jesus.
And it was going, 45 miles an hour. And when I got to the hospital, he was all banged up. But as soon as I came in, and he remembered my number, he called me. And I had to find him the next day because he couldn't really tell me where he was, what happened. So I had to find him. I called every single hospital, Southside, everywhere, Peninsula, every hospital. And because of his age, they didn't want to tell me anything. And a friend told me to try Riverside again, and I did, and that's where he was. So I said that to say when I got to the hospital June 9th, I thought I was going to go inside and my boy was going to say, "Hey, Mom." Because that's what he did last year. When he got hit, I had to go through a lot to get to him, to find out that he was even there, because he was, what did they say he was? A secure patient.
Secure patient, yeah.
Because of the nature of the incident. So I thought that I was going to go to the desk, and when I pulled up, there was probably 50 people outside. And that's when I realized he was gone, and we weren't going inside. So I didn't get to see him or anything. And their dad told me that he was gone to the Emmy in Norfolk. So it was
So
done.
what about Norfolk?
He was transferred to the medical examiner
Oh, he was
before I even got to the
before you
hospital.
even got there, yeah.
So it just didn't play out like I expected it to. I didn't plan to be driving there for that information because Zaire was so tough. And I thought it was going to be like this boy. Because, I mean, really, even the summer before that, he burnt himself really, really bad. It was 3rd degree. All this was burnt. Whole side of his torso, his leg. And he didn't go to the hospital. He came home, and I took care of him then. So for this to happen, it was just like, whoa. I almost thought that he was invincible.
A tough guy, huh?
Tough. Real tough, man.
The amazing thing about it, when I was doing the eulogy, you know how you don't want to say who going well or nothing, but you can feel the spirit of the person, whether you met them or not, when you preach. And I hate when I got to get up, because a lot of times I do these cases where a child is murdered, and I get up and I'm not gonna lie up in this pulpit, and I try to say enough general stuff without me saying stuff I know ain't true. You understand? But when I got in the pulpit to preach, I could just feel the positive nature of his spirit. And this, the whole, like, none of the notes, I was like, man, I just forget all the notes. And the spirit just moved. And my main lesson was, be careful who you hang around. Because I believe a lot of this situation was him hanging around the wrong people.
That's what happened.
And I felt bad, kind of, the flesh of me felt bad for saying certain things. But at the end of the day, I knew what the spirit was doing. So I just let it roll. And at one time I had done a funeral similar. The young man had gone to one of the members. She had just joined the church. I mean, the day, 2 days before he was killed. And I remember saying something. To this day, I can't know what I said, but like 15 kids got up and left. And I know I said something about I know somebody knows somebody. I don't really know. And a young lady ended up calling me, and what ended up hitting me on Facebook saying, I know his mama must have said this and this. He was going back and forth. I said, look, I've talked to you longer than I ever talked to her. She just joined Sunday. Her child was dead on Wednesday. So he had gone in to change clothes to come play basketball, and he put on a similar outfit as someone else that they wanted to shoot. The car had gone down past the goal, but when he came back out, they thought he was that other person. And they even, for lack of a term, they ended up apologizing when they got arrested. I thought he was somebody else. And my thing is, I know it doesn't make it feel better, but how does it feel when because I know in my heart, I never met him, but I could feel the positive energy, but I knew he was just around the wrong people. What message can you give people about that?
We believe that bullet wasn't for Zion.
No, it definitely wasn't.
Right?
I think so.
And wrong place, wrong time, man. And, you know, like me and Rashida, we talk often. And I hate the fact that he made a decision to ride with his homeboy. And it ended up costing him his life over a situation that wasn't his.
Right.
And that's how that usually happens. And, you know, Zod, I know that Deontay, that's the guy he was riding with, I know that he didn't mean for anything to happen, right? I don't believe that he meant for anything to happen. But you knew that y'all shouldn't have been down there. And by y'all being down there, that caused them boys. Because them boys ain't follow you all the way from Stewart Garden. Like, that's 20 minutes.
Yeah.
All the way up Jefferson, from Stewart Gardens to almost Fort Eustis. They followed you. So they had an intent to do something too.
Quick question. So why did they say they didn't go? Because I like the question you asked. Why? So they went to the trailer part because they were scared to go to the hospital?
So here's our belief, right? We believe that there was a gun in that car.
Oh,
Right?
Right.
So we believe there was a gun in that car. And we believe that you went to get rid of that gun instead of going straight to the hospital. You see what I'm saying? And doing that, he's losing blood the whole time.
The whole time.
so the driver wasn't killed.
No.
Oh, I
That's
see.
his girlfriend.
His girlfriend was driving. Not my son's girlfriend, but Deontay's girlfriend was driving. Deontay was the passenger on the passenger side, and Zai was in the back seat.
And Zaya was the only one who was killed.
Yes, sir.
He's the only one that shot as well.
Time out. So I gotta ask this.
Yep.
So the girlfriend of the other boy is driving.
The girlfriend's driving.
Your son in the front seat.
My son in the back seat.
He in the back seat. Okay. I'm about to say, hold on.
Yeah, he's in the back seat. Deontay's in the front seat. Deontay got grazed in the neck. But Zai got hit, and
His upper torso.
yeah.
Yeah, they ain't know how to shoot. Like,
Right, they just shot. They just
Right,
shot
they
the car.
shooting
Yeah.
straight at it, and the car moving instead of
Yeah.
So what type of person was Zaya? You sort of hinted at a tough guy.
He
What
was a
he
teddy
like?
bear.
He was, man.
When I say tough, it's more so for like physical.
He be durable all the accidents.
Yeah.
It seems like he
But
went through a lot.
he did. It was like one thing after the other there for like that whole year beginning in 2023. Because before he got hit by the truck, he got hit on his bicycle by a car. He just,
But the most respectable young man that you could ever be around, man, and everybody said that. And the day of his funeral, when I looked into that crowd, man, it put some joy in my heart, right? And I wish he was there to see
feel it.
and feel it, because, you know, sometimes he used to ride out with me and he'd say, Pops, I ain't really got no more homeboys like that, right? And I'm his old man, so he don't really want to hang with me, but he'll hang with me. And but all of our family was there, all of my friends was there. He worked at Walmart for 90 days, and
Yeah, they were
the
deep.
whole staff was
they
there.
were deep, man.
Because that's how much he touched
they
them.
definitely were deep.
You know what I'm saying? And
Sounds like a lovable guy.
he was, man. Everybody that came.
What would you say to people? Because many people think that when these tragedies happen, they were a member of a gang or something they did. They were a bad person, things like that. Can you speak to the audience about what it means to lose a good guy who was respectable?
Like she said, it's unbelievable, and you never want to have to bury your child, right? And that day when me and Rashida was on the phone, in a million years you couldn't tell me later on that evening that we were going to find out that our son was murdered, right? So, good God is I just want to keep thinking that God plucked that flower. And I hate the fact that, it was just his time, because I wasn't ready for my son to go. He was on his journey to his next phase in life. Like his mom just stated, he went through tough time in 2023 on his brother's birthday, getting hit by that truck. He spent every day with me rehabbing. They had to come to my house while he, rehabbed. And just that time watching him get to the next step and getting his job. And now he entered a program, Four Oaks program, where he was on his way to get his welding certification. And it just was taken from him, man, too soon. It was taken from him too soon, man. And I'm still in disbelief, if I'm just being real.
As a father, what do you think about every day?
Honestly, man, and it's tough, right? Because our pastor prayed over me yesterday morning
Take your time, man.
Release.
Yeah,
and told me it wasn't my fault.
I can feel it on
He
you.
said, man, it's not your fault. And I dealt with that, right? Because I knew, and his mom can attest to it, that I was a great father to him, right? But I am stern in what I do, and I mean what I say. And that just like, man, how did you get it? Was you getting what I'm saying? And I could just remember me giving him a hard jewel and then hug him, kiss him on his forehead. I'm only telling you this, man, because I love you, not because I'm mean. You feel what I'm saying? And that's what I deal with. Did I really do a good job? And everybody said, man, you did a great job, actually. And but it was nothing I could do to save him at that point. It was nothing I could do, man. So I battled with that.
Yeah. What you got to understand is this, and I'm gonna correct you on this one thing. I don't, and my ministers know not to say this, but you not my minister. We good.
All right.
But when we talk about how God plucked the flower, and we look at when we at funerals, I tell my ministers, you can't say the Lord give and the Lord take away, because God never said that. Job said that, and after Job said it, like I know they all be like, is God a male or female? I always say he a male, but he went off like a black woman.
Wow.
He went off on Job for 3 daggone chapters, telling him, were you there when I hung the moon? Were you there when I hung the sun? Were you there when I gave Jupiter its rings? Were you there? Did you give the gazelle its jump? You know what I'm saying? Did you give the lion its mane? Did you put Leviathan in its place in the sea? Like, he went through all this stuff like, dude, don't act like you know me. You understand? I don't do that. The only person that kills, steals, and destroys is Satan. Satan does that. It has nothing to do with God needing a flower in his garden. It is not God that wants you to have loss. It's evil in the world, and the devil goes about like a roaring lion, seeking who he may devour, and he always trying to sift us out like wheat. He tries to separate us from Christian people, try to separate him from the mother and the father, try to separate him from good people and put him with bad apples. The Bible says good company corrupts, bad company corrupts good character. And so that's why I want to give a message to people. You have to be careful of who you hang around. You hear us. There's no way all of us lying. I ain't ever met him, and I could feel the spirit of their son in a positive manner when I'm preaching, and immediately my sermon goes from this eulogy to a motivational speech, pretty much telling people don't hang around people who not doing anything. Because what are we scientifically, even if you don't believe in God, let's go scientifically. You're nothing but a whole bunch of atoms, atoms. That's all you are, a whole bunch of atoms put together, because you are still, God used science as well. So listen up. The only thing on the atom that moves from atom to atom is what? Electrons. It's a negative charge. If you move a proton, you made an atom bomb. You move the nucleus, you made a bomb. Because if you mess up the nucleus, it's going to explode. That's how they created the atom bomb. They learned how to split the protons in the midst of the atom. I know I sound like a nerd, but I am. That's why I got these glasses. So, but the only thing leaves is negative energy. So in order to balance out, if that person has more electrons or more negative energy than you, they're going to give you their negative energy to balance out, right? Which means a lot of times we think somebody is getting better, but we are getting worse, because we're hanging around someone who's giving us all this negative energy while they're sucking up our positive energy. And really, they ain't even sucking up our positive energy. They just giving us the excess negative energy they had when they come in contact with us. So what am I saying? Be careful of who you hang around, because it could mean your life. I know a lot of times we don't want to be rude. We don't want to put our friends to the side. But if we continue to hang with the wrong people, our life may be cut short. He has 2 responsible parents. He has 2, actually 4, because they're not married, but they have parents. Aaron loves him. His wife loves him. All of them working together to make sure that he's okay. But because he skipped his job to go be with somebody he probably knew he shouldn't have been with to support them and whatever they were doing, he ended up being shot when the bullet wasn't even meant for him because it wasn't his car. They following his friend's car, but he ended up catching it because he was in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong person, because he probably had such a big heart. He didn't know how to get rid of people. And just because you have a big heart don't mean you don't have to learn how to sever people and move them out the way, because you cannot go to the mountaintop carrying dead weight with you. Man, when I climbed a Kilimanjaro with the white people, because you know I was the only black person, right? So when I climbed a Kilimanjaro, I was like, man, take this. I didn't care, but I would eat snacks all the way up there. But when I got to 12,000 feet, that junk was heavy. Man, bump a camera, bump a picture. I ain't even got no proof. Like y'all think about, I took the camera off because everything was heavy, because the higher I got, the less oxygen I had, and the higher the altitude, the more heavier everything became. Take this book bag. I can't carry it. Take this camera. I don't care about the phone either. Y'all take a picture and give it to me because it's heavy. Because the higher you go, the more weight you feel, because the air is thinner up there. That's why eagles don't fight snakes. They just carry them up to the height. And as you moving up to a height, you can't continue to carry people that are dead weight. They can't breathe up there with you no way. Lead them down there. I know you love people. I know you want to be nice, but you got to love yourself first, because you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and God has a great work for you, and you cannot complete it hanging around negative people that aren't going anywhere. Anyway, I'm sorry I had to get that, because when he get emotional, because dudes don't be getting emotional. He always hype, he always talking junk, man. So I feel his bleeding heart. But go ahead, question master.
No,
I can see you ready. Get hug.
Yeah, I want to ask you, like, every day, how do you feel? What do you think about as a mom?
Him, just everything about him, his essence. He was so thoughtful. He always met me in the hallway in the morning, and he would say, "Good morning, Mom. I love you. Have a good day." And I would tell him, "I love you too. Have a good day. But let me know when you made it to work safe." And that was our thing. So at 21, my son called me to check in and let me know he made it to work every day. He called me on his break, and I picked him up from work in the evenings. He went from being my baby boy to being a man, someone that I look forward to talking to. He used to pick my brain. He was very inquisitive. He wanted to know about how I grew up, my childhood, and we had those conversations. And it was amazing that I got to have that time with him, because I had that with my father. He passed away when he was 55. So we got to have that transition where I was more of just a guide, and he could ask questions and we could just bounce ideas off of each other. It wasn't so much about discipline and more about just guiding and trying to teach him so maybe he could learn from some of the mistakes that I made. But he was a joy. That's the first word that comes to mind. His smile. Just his essence. I sometimes go in his room and just lay in his bed and talk to him.
I got a question for both of you, because one of my friends, Carolyn, and she had said something she had picked up, and I had to go watch it because I missed it. And it probably was good I missed it because of how stern I am. Mm-hmm. And she was saying how she felt she heard this one person say something pretty much to me. That's why another reason I think I'm just not remembering it. But when I went to pray for you and say don't, when we had the back to school prayer and praying over people, my spirit immediately prayed that, but I wasn't even thinking about this situation here. But somebody kind of said something as if it was your fault, right? From the pulpit that you all had, trusted to have the mic.
Yeah.
And when I looked at it, I was like, wow, they did say that, and she picked up on it. So is anyone, no, you don't have to call names if it's so, trying to blame you all? Because, I mean, why would I put my child in harm's way? I'm the parent. You understand? So, and if it is people doing it, how are you coping with that for those who, try to blame you for a situation that you had no power over whatsoever?
Yeah.
Because it's somebody that's close to both of us, right? And like you said, I won't call no name, but you're familiar with that person as well. And it hurt me, man. And at an event that we were at our church, it was said to me, right? And pastor, like, I'm different now.
Hallelujah.
You know what I'm saying?
I say hallelujah.
Yeah,
That's my teacher.
I'm different now, from what I used to be, and I thank God for that.
Yes.
And when it was said to me, I could have blew up, right? And I didn't. I stayed in, and still have to be by this person, right? But I text Rashida immediately, and I just started whispering to God and asking God to help me to be here, and this person don't think it's about them, and it's not about them, and they really don't even understand what's going. You can't even be mad at them, even though I'm burning on the inside, and I had to sit there through a whole event, knowing that I come to speak to you and show you some love, and that's the first thing that you say to me.
And it's my child.
This is my child. This is my boy. This is my first boy. You feel what I'm saying? And you don't know what I'm feeling. You don't know what his mom feeling. You see what I'm saying? We have real talks, and we still in disbelief. Like, we have table set up in our house. She has it in their house, and we talk with Zai daily. We have our own group chat with her husband, my wife, and our son, our other son Zakai, and we constantly send each other words of encouragement. Constantly, because now, right, June 18th is gone. We done had his funeral. Nobody comes to the house no more. You feel what I'm saying? All of that's done. And no knock on people, because I still get texts and, hey man, just checking in on you, man. I want to send you some love. And I appreciate all of that. But we're gonna have to deal with this forever. So for you to come and say that to me, not only did I lose respect for you, I still love you. I'm never gonna disrespect you. But it was so hurtful to me. And again, I just thank God that I'm just not that person that I used to be, because it would have been different.
I want to ask all of you, what has your faith meant to you through this situation?
Well, it's tough, man. It's tough. It's tough, right? Because you have to trust God. Not you supposed. You have to. Like, I'm my faith makes me. I'm obligated to trust God and believe. Right. So, but I'm still human.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And my friends, this man, it ain't me that's holding up. It ain't me that's, it ain't. It's not me. It's not me at all. I know it's not me. Because I break down when I'm riding in my car, and he used to be right there beside me. I can't look over no more and say, man, where we going to eat at today?
He loved to eat.
You know what I'm saying? And get me every time. He got his own money in his pocket, but you know
But
what
he
I'm
gonna
saying?
show us.
But he gonna spend mine, and I was cool with it. But I can't do that no more. He can't clean the back of the truck beds no more. You know, and Pops, what you think this outfit look like? Or is the Celtics gonna win? Or what you think the Bears gonna do this year? I don't have that no more with him. So, but I thank God for the time that he did give me with our son. You know, so my faith, man, I just keep trusting God, knowing that you have to have something big for me. You have to.
Have to.
Yeah, you have to, because you know, this was a tough one. This was a tough one, man. So yeah.
Wow. I thought Miss Mary was like she was burning over there.
Nope. Yep.
Go ahead, Miss
ahead.
Mary. She can I can see you moving.
Because he's walking all over my toes.
I'm sorry.
No.
You know,
You don't go to church enough.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. I know what you meant.
with Raheem,
Yeah, I mean,
he, you know, I'm looking at your ankles, and my son used to say, "Ma, why your ankles so ashy?"
oh my ankles.
And so now I
They not.
No.
She's just saying she's your
I would
ankles
look
out.
down at my feet and I would hear him say, "Mom, your ankles are ashes. Why? What's going on with you? Why you ain't got your ankles squared away? Your feet all ashy and stuff." And I started laughing, you know, because when you think of all the little things to remember, you know, the day he got killed, he said, "Oh, go on to buy Genesis some breakfast. I get to the house, you know she don't eat that. I done spent my money. I done spent $3.99. He said, but I need you to take her with you. Can you take her with me? And so just to hear the conversation, I don't know if y'all believe in, I'm going to tell you what happened to me, and it was a blessing for me. The day he got killed, I'm laying on the bed. I'm still crying. All the pieces, everybody then came to my house, and I'm in my room. And he came to me in a silhouette. And when I say a silhouette, I could see his whole body, but I could see through him. And I knew it was him because he gave me a kiss on the jaw. You know, each kid got their own special.
Mm-hmm.
He gave me that kiss on the jaw. And he said, "Ma, I effed up." I said, don't go. I need to talk to you." And he walked my bed. This is a foot of my bed. I'm laying across the bed. He kissed my jaw, but he never stopped moving. Because once he gave me that kiss, I sat up. He said, "Ma, I effed up. I said, "What's going on?" I said, Don't go. I want to talk to you. Don't go. He said, "I need you to get custody. Don't leave Jen out there. Get custody." So I ended up getting custody of my baby. He said, I gotta go. They let me come long enough for me to make sure Jen was okay. And so I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. I mean, when I say, and people say, you didn't see him, I know I saw him.
Yeah.
I know I saw the silhouette. I know that I saw through him. And so when I begin to tell people about the love I have, I did get to see my son because they wanted somebody to identify him. And she said, I can't let you identify him. I said, if you don't let me identify him, I'm a sue the police department. Nobody better identify my son. I need to know that he's dead. I don't need nobody to tell me like you had to receive it. I needed to know. So they showed me the picture. I said, yeah, that's my baby. But he had blood running down his face, but he had a smile. And I said, Lord, I thank you. I thank you for my baby. 27 years. I thank you for my knee baby, as the old people say.
Mm-hmm.
He was really, one time I said, Lord, what you trying to do? He was rough and rugged, but he was my baby. He was my baby, and I wouldn't take nothing for him. The 27 years I had to learn how to learn. I had to go back and learn how to love him. because I was a working mom. I ain't had time for no dumb mess. He was always into something. But God took me one day in Jersey, New Jersey, walking down the street because I drove charter bus. I had went to dropped the people off the casino and parked the bus, and I was walking down the street praying. And God told me, he said, that's your baby. I gave him to you. That's your gift I gave to you. He said, I want you to love on him. And from then on, I made it a relationship. I made it so that we could talk. I made it so that we would spend time. Because tomorrow's not promised to you. You don't know when you're going to go. You don't know when your baby's going to go. You can't, those times you had talking to your baby, they can't take them from you.
No. I still look over in the passenger seat.
They can't, and still see them. Hey, baby.
Yep.
They can't take that love from you. That's what keep me going. Is that the love I have for my child, they can't take it. I got Genesis, oh my Lord. I got Genesis, and she's a spitting image of Rahib. And sometimes I look down and look at the back of her ankles. She got ankles just like him. Or she'll walk through and scratch like him, or she'll say something. So, that's what keep me going. Don't store away your gifts that you got. That's why God had so much piled on you, so you could look back. He knew the time was coming that your baby won't gonna be with you. And you look over there in the car seat and talk to him. Where my food at? Where we going to eat at? How am I gonna do this? So when you
song that said precious memories,
come on now,
how they linger.
How they
How
linger.
they ever flood my
go
soul.
on and sing it, Pastor Paul. And I'm telling you, that's what keep me going. I made up in my mind that the person that killed my son would not kill me. I made up in my mind that the person that killed my son would not drive me crazy. I made up in my mind that the joy I have for my son would illuminate who I am. To show people that y'all ain't did nothing. The Bible said everything the devil thought he turned around for my bad, he gonna turn around for my good. So I take Rahib as a gift. The Bible, one of my friends told me, she said, Mary, please don't be mad with me. The scripture she gave me was, unless a seed fall to the ground and die, it can't bear much fruit. What kind of fruit are you planning on bearing for your son that's gone? You want to tell somebody else how God brought you through. You want to show somebody else the love you have for your son did not stop because he's gone to a spiritual physician, figure. And that's what keep me going. Because one time they had announced me as having congestive heart failure. I'm trying to think. There's another one where they say you got a heart attack, but you don't have a heart attack. But I said, no, I can't let that person kill me. I got to live so Rahid can live. I got to tell everybody that God got you. I got to tell everybody that He is real. He will keep you if you just trust Him.
And in both cases are unresolved. Your son's case Rahib's case is a cold case, but the person that you believe did this crime,
they know he did it, but they don't have what that young man did was he hired somebody else to shoot up the witnesses. One lady, she moved to Texas. One lady they shot was, I think they say it was her family member. He told her if she testified that they won't kill the family. And so she said, I told the detective, I said, you know what? Them testifying, they're not gonna bring my baby back. I don't want to see nobody else dying because of my baby.
we have a violent culture, huh?
Yeah, it is. And because of that, they said, well, we don't have any more witnesses. What the detective just told me recently, well, you might need to find some other witnesses so that we can handle your case. Because my grandbaby, when we had the walk that they have for the orange at the center, she went up to him and say, hey, how you doing? You remember me? I'm Genesis. She said, yeah. And she said, Grandma, can I talk to him? I said, sure. You can say what you want. what you doing about my father's case?
Wow.
This the 8-year-old talking. Yeah, I already know he in jail for something else he did, but you ain't doing that. You ain't doing your job. I'm like, oh Lord, Jen, calm down, Jen, calm down, calm down. She say, what are you doing about my dad's case? I miss my dad. I wish my dad was here. I want my dad to be around me. But what are you doing to solve the issue about my dad? I said, Jen, calm down. She said, but Grandma, you said I could speak. I said, well, speak your mind. So when she finished telling him, he kind of drew her back in the crowd and left. But she said, Grandma, I'm at peace now. I talked to the detective. Maybe he'll get on his job. This is an 8-year-old talking. I said, okay. So,
Stuff like that make you grow up quick.
yeah.
Our time is coming to a close here, but I want to hear from you, Rashida. How are you getting through every day?
I just keep going.
Just keep going. That's what we got to do, right? What message do you have for the audience? And there's a mixed audience, right? There's an audience of people who have not walked in your shoes. And then there's an audience of people who have. And they don't know how to keep going. I know this is a fairly recent case, a very recent case. You can't really prepare for this, right?
No.
Mm-mm.
Just if you love someone, tell them. Every day. Even when you're upset. Even when you may be having disagreements. Things just change in the blink of an eye. And when it's over, unfortunately. Just tell people you love them.
I have another question for all of you, or whomever would like to respond to this. If you had to speak, if you had something to say to the perpetrator, what would you say?
My word says, forgive those that have aught against you. I forgive you. And I turn you over to God, who says vengeance is mine.
Yeah. Piggybacking off what Ms. Jackson said, because I don't want to see the retaliation of another young black brother or anybody lose their life. But I would hope that we do get justice for what happens, and I also hope that it's an eye opener for all young guys, young girls, to understand that we're losing each other, we're killing each other, and it's at a young age. At a young age, so man, whatever happens to him in court, I pray that he do find God and that he just understand like the way he going, it ain't the way. It's not the way. It's not the way.
There are a lot of young men out there going the wrong path, whether they're involved in gangs, as you said that there was a gang related incident with Rahib. And then there are guys out there that are just angry and carrying weapons, just reacting, doing stuff. We got to do better as a society, as a community, a black community. Evil is not cool. Shooting people is not cool. Reacting because somebody had beef, it's not cool. We got a better way. We can handle our grievances differently. I'm so sorry about what happened to your son Zaire and Rahid. Sound like really great guys gone too soon. and it can be any of us. My thoughts, my prayers are with you as you go through the healing process. And I really hope that justice be done. And I really hope that, as you say, that they find God. Because it's running, trying to hide and pretend like you didn't do the crime. You can run, but you can't hide. And the thing is, you can't hide from yourself. And you can't hide from God. And all of us need continually transformation. And I pray that their minds, their hearts be transformed. And that we have a revival of hope in our society. And I pray that your healing process happens speedily. At the same time, precious memories linger.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a pastor, my job, I'm always gonna try to cover my people. So I like the way you be nice. But I'm David, you understand? And so I pray that God, I hope they do find God, but I just pray that God deals with perpetrators swiftly and thoroughly. And like Miss Mary said, God said vengeance is his. And so, you all should take the high road. You all should pray for forgiveness. But as an intercessor, we can pray how we want to pray because the intercessors get permission to be violent in the spirit. The kingdom of God suffers violent, the violent take it by force. So I just pray that God deals with them swiftly and thoroughly. Also, I just have to say this part, gun violence affects everybody. And I don't want us to leave this show thinking that it's just a black issue. What happens statistically is white people kill white people, Hispanic people kill Hispanic people, Korean people kill Korean people. And I know they always talk about black on black crime, but most people kill people they know. It's rare that it's strangers and random. So they tend to kill people they are in relationship with. And I know a lot of times they put us on the screen more so than anybody because they always want to do that psychological contamination of the black race and make it seem as though we're more violent than anybody. But we were brought here to a country in a violent way. Our women and men were raped by masters, and we were brought here and our families were split up. So to act like we're the more violent people, I can't say we are. But me as a black person, I definitely want to deal with this black issue. In fact, I had to reschedule the program because one of my people were killed by an individual he was trying to help, actually shot in his sleep, taking care of one of our friend's son who was like 20 or 21. And he, had his mental issues or whatnot, has his mental issues. He's in jail now, but he was claiming self-defense, but he actually, from what I'm hearing, shot him in his sleep, according to the police. So we're none of us, I believe, are immune to gun violence or violence, period, especially the way that certain groups of politicians always want to make sure that they put guns on the street. They sometimes rather have more guns on the street than relief and nonprofits helping people to help give them a hand up to pull them out of situations they're in, and act as if, putting more guns on the street is a solution. Because one thing we know, we're not the ones shipping guns into the neighborhood. We're not the ones who allow guns to come into the community. That is a governmental issue. I know, this does not reflect the thoughts of Antipas Harris, but I just don't care. Because at the end of the day, guns get here because government entities allow guns to be here. Because things are strategically, in my mind, set up in order for certain races of people to destroy themselves. You see more liquor stores in our neighborhood. Why? Why we can't see more hospitals? We see hospitals in particular neighborhoods that are affluent, but we see liquor stores and different things that make you begin to take away your inhibitions. They sell the marijuana paraphernalia but arrest you for using it, but they selling it right in your neighborhood. So you selling me an illegal product in a legal store, yet arrest me when I use what you sold to me legally in a store. And so what we have to do is set a mindset and make sure that we resist these things and begin to help our poor neighborhoods build up their stamina to be able to resist the temptation that they put in our neighborhood. But this is a great show. First of all, I just want to thank you all for coming on this show. And like you said, it pulls off a band-aid. It begins to pull the scab off, and you begin to deal with it again and again. And I know you dealing with it for several years. It has to be hard. And for you two to come to the show and it's fresh. It's happened in June, not that long ago. Situation still not solved. And I got to thank the visionary for this, because he said, hey man, let's deal with gun violence. Yeah. And then here I am, the minute he says let's do it, I got to reschedule because one of my friends at home got killed. 50, not young, but still too early to go.
Like that?
You understand? So this is a powerful episode, a powerful show. It's sad, yet I'm still happy that we were able to be here, because the raw emotions and people understand that maybe this will touch someone who thinking about killing someone. Maybe this will touch someone who understands that violence is not the way to be able to talk it out. Because, back in the day, you fight and it be done. Y'all still cool. We used to fight our friend, man. Hey, man, you going to still go to the club with me. You know what I'm saying? But now it's an infinite thing, because now nobody want to fight. Nobody want to talk it out or fight. We go get the boxing glove, man. Go get the glove. We be out there fighting on the concrete, knocking each other out, busting our lips. But we live to see each other another day. But now we just shoot and kill and regret it later. Because I'm sure even though these individuals purposely killed them, I'm sure they have some type of regret, some type of remorse, because no one in my mind is totally evil. So that's my 2 cents. Theology on tap.